nostalgia critic. I remembered, so you don't have to. Hey, what's with the princess hate? Yes, most little girls fantasize about being a princess at some point. With their elegant beauty, kind heart, and enchanted surroundings, the princess for many is the epitome of femininity. But there's been a bit of a backlash in the past several years, saying that the princess stereotype is a more damaging fantasy than an encouraging one. Even I've had my rants on the overuse of it in media.
You're not really a princess, you just took the title because it sounds cute.
So, is it just innocent make-believe, or is there really something to get angry about? Well, in order to answer this, we should probably look at what the majority of people take the most offense at. And I guess it's only the most logical, albeit cliche, to look at the most famous lineup of princesses, Disney. Disney has practically reinvented the fairy tale, and seeing how their princess line is the best-selling licensed entertainment character merchandise, it's safe to say they have a clear understanding of what makes princesses so popular. What do they have in common? Well, they're all pretty, they're all kind, they all have various clothes and accessories you can buy for them. But naturally the intrigue in owning one has to come from their personalities formed in the movies, which many consider, from an ethical point of view, not the best role models. They don't do anything, many complain, they're just damsels waiting to be rescued and never take responsibility in getting things done for themselves, instead relying on their status and or beauty to get them what they want, which in most cases is just a man. And sometimes that's true. Sleeping Beauty, for example, I still stand by as one of the most forgettable characters in Disney history. Yeah, we all know the iconic image, but her fantasy extends to her doing absolutely nothing while her true love comes to save the day. And what of course happens? She does absolutely nothing while her true love comes to save the day. And on top of that, she has nothing else to make her stand out, be unique, or have any specific characteristics. So yeah, the argument is pretty valid there. But fuck it, I'm gonna defend the other ladies a little bit. Not that they're always the best, but there's still good virtues that can be learned from them. Snow White's kindness and helpful nature, for example, serves as a second mother for the dwarves. And anyone that says being a mother doesn't make a hard-working, responsible woman clearly has never been one. It's work, and worst about it is that you don't even get paid for it. So the fact that she can still be pleasant while also teaching the dwarves responsibility may not be major, but it's still something. But many would argue it's one thing for one of them to fall into that category, what about three? We mentioned Sleeping Beauty before, but Cinderella is often the biggest offender to the sit back, do nothing, and let someone else save the day routine. Again, to her defense, she's working her ass off. I mean, like, every second she's on screen, she's doing something. And in the end, she's rewarded for her hard work and kindness, even in the face of such nastiness. And if your argument is this is still not a good role model, that it won't inspire people to go out there and achieve, guess whose favorite fairy tale this was? Yep, the D-Man himself who supposedly started this whole controversy, Disney. He said Cinderella was his favorite because he often felt like her, working as hard as he could every day until destiny finally gave him a chance. And that hard work and kindness can result in a virtuous reward. But what does that arguably greatest businessman, creative genius, and heartwarming icon know? Slacker. Now granted, while I don't think these characters are that bad, it's clear to acknowledge that these women were limited to the roles that women were expected to have at the time. In the following years, the princesses would be a little bit more proactive, taking more chances and forming more definitive personalities. But even that can get some flack too, particularly Ariel, the Little Mermaid, who many complain is just a whiny teenager who needs a man to save the day. And while she can at times certainly be her own teenage drama queen, people forget at the time she was praised as being much more independent than the past Disney princesses. She traveled, she explored, she broke the rules, she left the house, she had a distinct personality, she was curious.
The character is active. She's not just a little girl that things happen to. She's up there, she's going to go to the surface, she's going to find her prince, she's going to take care of business, and so you can really identify with her.
And on top of that, while the prince does save the day in the end, she saves his life not once, but twice in this movie. Hell, if we want to get technical about it, I'm surprised more people weren't pissed off at Jasmine. I mean, yeah, she fights for her independence once and even takes a chance in living her own life, but she quickly returns to the world she said she hated, stays in it, and constantly lets her boyfriend save her. But nevertheless, the complaints were heard. And the Princess brand over the years has made an effort to try and make their ladies more and more independent, having them save the male just as many times as the male saves them, while still keeping true to the kind and moral virtues that, let's face it people, are enforced in every Disney character, not just the princesses. Be nice, be kind, be true to your heart. When has that not been a major part of the lesson in a Disney film? So after looking them all over, I'm not sure if it's entirely Disney's fault for the negative stereotype. Okay, it didn't always help, but in many respects, it did help. They're still trying to teach the importance of patience and kindness, which are great virtues for any gender. And Disney is even pushing harder to make their most marketable icons be a symbol of strength and honor, as seen in these recent ads.
I am a princess. I am brave, even when I am scared. I believe compassion makes me strong. Kindness is power.
So if the virtues that the massive Disney's promoting isn't the problem with the princess icon, what is? I'll admit, something was rubbing me the wrong way for years about girls wanting to be princesses. I just couldn't put my finger on it. But then the answer came to me when I saw Bridge to Terabithia, which is a god-awful flick, by the way. In fact, note to self, review Bridge to Terabithia. When our main lead brings his little sister into his fantasy land.
Is there a king? Are you the king, Jess?
Only if you're a princess.
Wait a minute. Why is he king and her princess? Shouldn't it more logically be king and queen? In fact, even more recently in Wreck-It Ralph, why is it when the king is destroyed again, it's a princess who rules the land and not a queen? In fact, how come in a lot of nostalgic shows and movies I've reviewed, even if the original ruler is gone, they still hold the title princess? Yeah, Princess Sally, Princess Lana, hell, even Princess Leia, all their parents are out of commission. And yet they still hold on to the title of princess and not queen. Why does that seem more marketable for some reason? And that's when it suddenly hit me. It's not necessarily the virtues of the princess that piss people off, maybe it's the title. Why is it so many boys want to be king? Because they want the power and responsibility to control and change things.
Hail to the king, baby.
Well then, why do so many girls not want to be queen then? In fact, we're almost anti-queen, aren't we? The more research I did, the more I found there aren't that many fictional queens that are kind, heroic women. They're usually the villains. Which brings us back to the question, why do so many girls prefer princess to queen? Well, maybe because being a princess not only indicates you're younger, which often translates to prettier, but also that you have a position of power with responsibility, but not too much responsibility. Oh, I'm just holding the spot for the king until he returns. I still have the title of youthful innocent who has power, but not all the power. Thus projecting an image of daintiness and elegance who makes everybody cookies, instead of an image of strength and determination who makes powerful changes. It's the same thing as calling a grown man a boy and a grown woman a girl. If you call a grown man a boy, they'll usually be pissed off. Why? Because they want to be seen for strength and responsibility over youthfulness and innocence. Whereas, sadly, many women do prefer the other way around, valuing the youthfulness and innocence over strength and responsibility. Oh, don't get me wrong, there's many who don't, but you all know out there's plenty that do. Now, why this is a whole other argument. Is it society over nature, nature over society, a combination of both? It's a whole other issue. And I'm also not forgetting that prince and princesses are not made up titles, they really exist. It's not titles we created to keep people in certain roles, they're actual royal positions. But what is obvious is that our reinforcement seems to be that princesses are young, beautiful, and try to live in an innocent world free from conflict. And if one does arrive, it's somebody else's job to take care of it. With that said, no matter how tough, action-packed, or honorable you make your heroine, by keeping the princess title a very popular title, it's still reinforcing that youth and the need not to take all responsibility are the best virtues. And don't get me wrong, I know men and women are different. I know instinctually we're gonna have a different emphasis on different values. Men are from Mars, women from Venus, etc., etc. But the world is changing more and more every day, and we're seeing much more variety in our female characters than we have in the past. So maybe it's time to really look at the changes happening around us and see which virtues we really want to enforce. And at least making it very clear that there's a definite option that any female can be as powerful as she wants to be. And that second place or being under somebody else's wing is not the furthest you can go. Because let's face it guys, with so many female characters that are good, strong, interesting, funny, entertaining, intelligent, responsible, and just as compelling as male characters, perhaps it's time for the princess in so many people to stop living in fairy tales and look at the reality that is unfolding around us. I'm the nostalgia critic guy, remember? So you don't have to. Alright folks, premium membership is back, but for the very last time in the unlimited form. Pay $40 and get access to behind the scenes, commentaries, extras, and your favorite Doug-related videos, all downloadable in iPod format. Pay once and get it for as long as we're still a site. Which hopefully will be a long time. You never know, the seahorses might take over, but regardless, future memberships will be limited to a yearly basis. Also get access to the downloadable That Guy with the Glasses CD, the exclusives from the That Guy with the Glasses Volume 1, 2, and soon coming 3, as well as Kick-Assia, Suburban Nights coming soon as well. Click the link below the video to purchase today, as new premium access will be closed on April 20th, 2013. Hurry now, because your mother wants you to. That's right, I called up and talked to your mother. She's totally on board with this. Go ahead, do it. All right, maybe not your mother, but my mother is totally cool with it. Actually, I haven't talked to my mother in a while. Actually, a really long time. I'm gonna go call my mother. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Yeah, can you tell these people to sign up for the premium membership? Okay, thanks. She says go for it. My mother says go for it. Dude, that's my mom! Don't let my mom down!